What if the very fabric of your reality is a mirror reflecting only the shadows of a past self you've outgrown? What if the quantum leap you crave is being held hostage by the ghost of who you used to be? For anyone in the USA, UK, or anywhere feeling trapped in a loop of unfulfilled potential, this is your wake-up call. The science of quantum physics and neuroscience now reveals that your breakthrough is not about adding more, but about surrendering what no longer serves you. If you're ready to shatter the illusion of limitation and step into a life where reality itself bends to your will, hit subscribe now, because what follows is a mind-bending journey into the core of your existence, and you won't want to miss a single word. The quantum shift that you seek, that profound transformation which feels like a leap across dimensions, is perpetually hovering in the potential of the quantum field, a vast sea of infinite possibilities where all probabilities exist simultaneously, waiting to be collapsed into your experience through the power of your focused consciousness. But here lies the fundamental twist that many miss in their pursuit of manifestation. The quantum shift only happens when you let go of the old you, that entrenched identity built from past traumas, societal conditioning, and limiting beliefs, which acts as a frequency filter, resonating at a vibration that only attracts more of the same, thereby keeping you locked in a loop of predictable reality. And this is where the observer effect from quantum mechanics crashes into the realm of personal growth, revealing that your consistent observation and emotional investment in the old you, your stories, your failures, your perceived inadequacies, continually reinforces that reality waveform, making it the dominant experience in your life. Much like a scientist confirming the position of a particle by the mere act of looking, so too do you confirm the solidity of your old self by constantly measuring yourself against it. But when you begin the process of letting go, you are essentially performing a quantum reflex, a spontaneous and often unconscious reaction to a new awareness that triggers a cascade of neurological rewiring, where neuroscience shows that the brain's neuroplasticity allows for the pruning of old neural pathways associated with the old you, and the sprouting of new ones aligned with a quantum awakening, which is nothing less than a sudden expansion of consciousness that permits you to perceive the nexus points, those critical junctures where your decisions ripple through the quantum field and alter the trajectory of your reality. This letting go is not a passive resignation, but an active dissolution, a deliberate surrender of the ego's grip on a familiar but limiting story. And as you release this attachment, your frequency begins to shift, moving from the dense vibration of fear and lack into the higher, lighter vibration of love and abundance, which in turn adjusts the information you are broadcasting into the quantum field. Because manifestation is not about forcing outcomes, but about becoming a vibrational match for them. And your subconscious mind, which operates based on deeply held beliefs and programs, is the engine of this vibrational output, often running the old software of the old you without your conscious awareness, thus creating a reality that reflects past conditioning rather than future potential. Therefore, the journey of quantum manifestation requires diving into the subconscious to reprogram those core frequencies, a task that blends ancient wisdom with modern neuroscience, as you learn to intervene in the automatic loops of thought and emotion that tether you to a former self. And this is where the concept of a quantum leap becomes tangible, not as a gradual step-by-step process, but as a sudden, discontinuous jump to a new level of being, where the reality shift you experience is so distinct that the past feels like a dream belonging to someone else, because you have effectively collapsed the wave function of your old identity and observed into existence a new quantum reality, one where you operate from a state of quantum consciousness, a unified awareness that recognizes the interconnectedness of all things and your role as a co-creator within this energetic matrix. The twist, however, is that this quantum shift often feels like a loss before it feels like a gain, as the universe seems to mirror back the chaos of release before solidifying into the new pattern, challenging you to trust in the process even when the old you screams to return to the familiar. And it is in this crucible of uncertainty that the true transformation occurs, for you are not just changing your circumstances, but evolving your very essence, moving from a particle-based perspective of separation to a wave-based understanding of unity, where every thought, emotion, and intention sends ripples through the fabric of existence, attracting synchronicities and opportunities that align with your new vibration. This is quantum awakening, the moment you realize that you are not a passive observer in a fixed universe, but an active participant in a fluid, responsive reality that molds itself to your inner state. And with this knowledge comes the responsibility to choose your focus wisely. For what you observe within, your self-concept, your beliefs, your vision, will eventually manifest without, in a grand dance of energy and information that bridges the gap between the quantum and the classical, the mind and the material, the soul and the cosmos. But beware, for the path of quantum transformation is fraught with illusions, and one of the greatest pitfalls is the temptation to manifest from the ego of the old you, which seeks external validation and material proof of worth, thereby perpetuating the very cycle of lack you aim to escape, because true quantum manifestation arises from a state of being that is already whole and complete, independent of outcomes. And this requires a profound letting go not only of past identities, but also of future attachments, living in the quantum now where all power resides. And this is where the neuroscience of mindfulness intersects with quantum principles, as training your brain to stay present reduces activity in the default mode network, the neural correlate of the old you, and increases connectivity in regions associated with awareness and empathy, effectively upgrading your biological hardware to support your quantum software. Additionally, the concept of frequency takes on a literal meaning when we consider that every thought and emotion emits a specific vibrational signature that interacts with the quantum field, much like a radio tower broadcasting signals, and your subconscious mind is the primary broadcaster, running on autopilot based on past programming. So unless you consciously intervene to change the station, you will keep manifesting the same old reality. But when you align your conscious and subconscious minds through techniques like visualization, affirmation, and emotional rehearsal, you create a coherent signal that powerfully dictates the reality the field reflects back to you. And this coherence is the key to unlocking rapid and dramatic reality shifts, where miracles become mundane and the impossible becomes your new normal. And yet, here comes the ultimate twist. This quantum shift is not a one-time event, but a continuous process of death and rebirth, where each layer of the old you that is shed reveals another beneath it, requiring perpetual vigilance and commitment to consciousness expansion. Because the moment you believe you have arrived, you risk crystallizing into a new form of the old you, rigid and attached, thus losing the fluidity that allows for further evolution. And this is where the nexus of quantum reflex and neuroscience becomes crucial, as you cultivate the ability to respond to life's triggers, not from habitual patterns, but from a place of present moment awareness, effectively interrupting the subconscious programs that would pull you back into lower vibrational states. And it is in these micro moments of choice that you exercise your quantum muscle, strengthening your connection to the quantum field and your capacity for instantaneous manifestation. Moreover, the reality shift you undergo is often subtle at first, perceptible only through a heightened sensitivity to frequency and vibration, where you begin to notice synchronicities and serendipities that signal alignment with your new trajectory. And as you align, the external world must reconfigure to match your internal shift, which can sometimes manifest as sudden upheavals or unexpected opportunities that challenge you to remain centered in your new identity. For the universe tests your conviction by presenting scenarios that would have once triggered the old you, and your response determines whether you fully anchor in the quantum reality or fall back into the comfort of familiar suffering. This process is akin to a quantum leap in consciousness, where you transcend linear time and perceive the multidimensional aspects of your existence, understanding that all versions of you, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously in the quantum field, and by letting go of the old you, you are not erasing your history but integrating it into a broader narrative that serves your highest good, thereby transforming wounds into wisdom and fears into fuel for creation. Furthermore, the observer effect teaches us that reality is not objective but subjective, shaped by the questions we ask and the expectations we hold. So when you shift your focus from what was to what can be, you are literally calling forth a new reality from the probabilistic soup of the quantum field, and this is the essence of quantum manifestation, a co-creative dance between your conscious intent and the infinite potential of the universe, where your job is not to figure out the how, but to declare the what, and allow the intelligence of the field to orchestrate the details, trusting that your vibration will attract the necessary people, resources, and circumstances to materialize your vision. However, this trust requires surrendering the need for control, which is a hallmark of the old you rooted in fear, and embracing uncertainty as the playground of creation, where magic and logic merge in the realm of quantum consciousness, and you realize that you are both the experiment and the experimenter, the dream and the dreamer, the particle and the wave, existing in a state of superposition until your observation collapses you into a defined experience. Thus, the quantum awakening is a journey home to yourself, a recognition that the power you seek has always been within, obscured only by the layers of identity you accumulated over lifetimes, and as you peel back those layers through meditation, introspection, and embodied action, you access deeper strata of your being that resonate with the fundamental frequency of the cosmos, which is love, and from this place manifestation becomes effortless, because you are no longer manifesting from lack, but from overflow, not from a separate self, but from the unified field of all existence. So, let this be your invitation to engage in the greatest experiment of your life, to let go of the old you with gratitude and courage, to step into the void of pure potential, and to observe with wonder as your quantum shift unfolds, reconfiguring your reality from the inside out. And remember, the field is always responding, so choose your vibration wisely, for you are the universe experiencing itself, and this journey of consciousness expansion is the very purpose of your existence. This continuous unraveling and reweaving of the self is the very engine of sustained quantum evolution, where the notion of a final destination dissolves into the understanding that you are a verb, not a noun, a perpetual process of becoming, forever interacting with the quantum field's infinite potential. This is where the profound interplay between neuroscience and quantum principles deepens. For your brain is not a static organ, but a dynamic, frequency-based antenna, constantly tuning into the vibrational information that matches its dominant subconscious programming. Every time you resist the old you's impulses, the urge to react in jealousy, to shrink from opportunity, to vocalize self-doubt, you are not just exercising willpower, you are initiating a quantum reflex at the neuronal level, where the firing of new, underused neural pathways sends a novel signal into the quantum field. This signal, however faint at first, is a declaration of a new frequency, a tiny but potent ripple that begins to destabilize the standing wave of your former reality. The twist, however, lies in the nexus of effort and surrender. The diligent work of consciousness expansion through mindfulness or meditation is not about forcing a new reality, but about achieving a state of inner quietude where the static of the old identity fades, allowing you to perceive and then receive the subtle instructions and synchronicities broadcast by the field itself. This is quantum awakening in its most practical form, the shift from seeking answers externally to downloading them from the unified intelligence of which you are now a conscious part, realizing that the quantum field is not a distant cosmic soup but the very fabric of your mind and body, meaning that your subconscious beliefs are literally the architectural plans for your physical and experiential reality. Consequently, the process of manifestation transforms from a goal-oriented hustle into a sacred dialogue of alignment where you're primary. Work is to feel from the core of your being the emotional and sensory reality of your desired state now, thereby emitting the corresponding vibration that magnetically pulls the matching circumstances from the field's infinite soup of possibilities. This is the observer effect applied to your future self. By observing, feeling, and embodying that future version with emotional fidelity in your present moment awareness, you collapse its probability wave into your tangible experience, making quantum leap from a theoretical possibility to a lived reality shift. But the field is impeccably honest. It responds not to your superficial affirmations, but to your deepest, most dominant emotional signatures. If beneath your chant of "I am abundant" lies a subconscious fear of scarcity rooted in the old you's experiences, the field responds to the louder, more resonant frequency of that fear. This is why letting go the old you is a non-negotiable prerequisite. It is the meticulous, sometimes painful work of going into that subconscious basement and, with the light of quantum consciousness, rewiring those deep-seated emotional charges, not by fighting them, but by witnessing them with compassion until their energetic hold dissipates, thus freeing up immense bandwidth for new signals to take root. The journey, therefore, becomes one of increasing vibrational discernment, learning to differentiate between the dying echoes of the past and the gentle pull of your emerging future, a skill honed in the silent spaces between thoughts. Furthermore, this entire process is supercharged at the nexus of intention and detachment. You must hold a clear, crisp image of your desired quantum reality with intense feeling, yet simultaneously release any obsessive attachment to the specific form or timeline of its arrival. This paradox is the heart of quantum manifestation. The field operates in ways that often transcend linear logic, and your insistence on the how acts as a ceiling on its creative intelligence. By letting go of the old you also let go of its limited imagination and its need to control the pathway. The field may orchestrate a meeting, a loss, or an apparent setback that makes no sense to the logical mind, but is the perfect catalytic event to dismantle a final layer of the old identity and propel you into the new timeline. This is where faith becomes a practical tool, not blind faith, but an evidence-based trust built from witnessing smaller synchronicities, those whispers from the universe confirming you're on the new frequency. Each confirmed synchronicity is a neurological and quantum reward, strengthening the new neural pathways and reinforcing your bond with the responsive, intelligent field. It creates a positive feedback loop. Your trust increases your vibrational coherence, which attracts more alignment, which deepens your trust, accelerating the entire shift. The ultimate twist in this quantum journey is the realization that the you that is doing the letting go is itself a transient pattern of energy and information. As you practice consciousness expansion, the sense of a solid, separate self, the old you at its core, begins to soften. You start to identify less as the character in the drama and more as the awareness witnessing the character, the quantum consciousness from which the play itself arises. From this vantage point, letting go becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural release, like a tree shedding autumn leaves. You see the old you not as an enemy to be defeated, but as a necessary iteration that brought you to this precise point of awakening. With this compassion comes true freedom. The quantum shift then reveals its deepest nature. It is not just a shift in your circumstances, but a fundamental shift in the locus of your identity, from the ephemeral personality to the eternal observer, from the particle to the wave. In this state, manifestation becomes instantaneous because there is no resistant, dense self to block the flow. Your purified intention, born of this clear awareness, moves through the quantum field unimpeded, shaping reality with the ease of a dreamer shaping a lucid dream. This is the quantum leap into your true power, the understanding that you were never broken and never needed fixing. You only needed to remember your essential nature as a co-creative nexus of consciousness within an alive, responsive, and profoundly loving universe. The work, then, is simply the continual, joyful refinement of your instrument, your mind, body, and emotions, to hold ever higher frequencies of this truth, making your very life a masterpiece of conscious reality shift. This deepening journey into the quantum landscape reveals that the very obstacles and periods of apparent stagnation, the void after release, are not evidence of failure, but are, in fact, the fertile ground of the quantum field reorganizing itself around your new signal. This is where a critical twist emerges. The quantum shift often requires you to pass through a state of disidentification so profound that it may feel like a form of spiritual homelessness. You have let go of the old you, but the new quantum reality has not yet solidified into a stable construct. In this liminal space, your quantum consciousness is being recalibrated, and the observer effect works in a subtler, more profound way. You are not observing a new reality out there, you are observing the absence of the old one within. This act of observing the void without rushing to fill it with old patterns is the ultimate act of faith and the catalyst for the most potent reality shift. Neuroscience reflects this as a period of heightened neuroplasticity where the brain, deprived of its familiar inputs, becomes exceptionally receptive to new programming. It is in this window that your focused intention and frequency work are exponentially more powerful, for you are imprinting on a fresh neurological canvas, free from the graffiti of the past. Your subconscious is in a state of eager plasticity, and the narratives you choose to embody now, through visualization, embodied emotion, and deliberate action, sink in as new core beliefs, effectively rewriting your contract with reality at the most fundamental level. This process is further amplified when you understand the principle of quantum entanglement applied to your own being. The old you was entangled with specific people, patterns, and financial realities, a whole ecosystem of vibrating energy that reinforced your former identity. Letting go the old you necessarily means the vibration that sustained those entanglements changes, and the field must respond by either reconfiguring those connections or dissolving them entirely. This explains why a profound quantum awakening can sometimes precipitate shifts in relationships or career paths that feel abrupt or even disruptive. It is not a punishment, but a law of resonance. The universe is disentangling you from lower vibrational matches and creating space for new resonant connections that align with your emergent quantum reality. This is the nexus of personal and transpersonal change, where your individual manifestation becomes a ripple in the collective field, potentially triggering quantum leaps in those around you who are receptive. Your transformation, therefore, is never a selfish act. It is a vibrational upgrade offered to the whole. Moreover, the quantum reflex evolves from a conscious intervention into an autonomic expression of your new self. Initially, you must catch the old pattern, the fear-based thought, the defensive reaction, and consciously choose a different frequency. With practice, this rewiring becomes instantaneous. A trigger arises, and instead of the old cascade of neurological and emotional chemistry, a new, more aligned response arises seemingly from nowhere. This is the quantum reflex in action, a spontaneous, coherent emission from your upgraded energy system that bypasses the old synaptic loops entirely. It feels like grace or intuition in motion. You are now operating from a quantum blueprint, not a historical one. This is the integration of neuroscience and mysticism, the moment when practiced mindfulness becomes embodied wisdom, and your nervous system itself becomes a conduit for quantum consciousness. The journey then invites you to explore the subconscious not as a buried basement of trauma, but as the very gateway to the quantum field. In theta and delta brainwave states, accessed in deep meditation, hypnagogic states, or through certain somatic practices, The critical filter of the conscious mind relaxes. In this state, you can communicate directly with the field, downloading symbols, insights, and healing codes that bypass rational understanding to reorganize your very being from the quantum level up. This is consciousness expansion in its most direct form, using the technology of your own biology to tune into the broadcast of universal intelligence. Here, manifestation takes on a magical quality. You may visualize not just outcomes, but the feeling of already living in a reality of infinite possibility. And the field responds by weaving that feeling into the fabric of your daily life in ways your conscious mind could never engineer. It might bring you a book, a stranger's comment, or a sudden inner knowing that perfectly addresses a hidden doubt of the old you. The ultimate twist, however, lies in confronting the illusion of the manifester. As you mature in this practice, you may experience a paradoxical inversion. The quantum shift leads you to a point where you realize that the I that is trying to manifest is itself the final layer of the old you to be released. This is the leap from quantum manifestation to quantum being. In this state, you cease to be a separate entity shouting requests into the void. Instead, you become a clear channel through which the universe expresses itself uniquely. Your desires align with the evolutionary impulse of the whole, and your life becomes a synchronous dance of giving and receiving. The observer effect merges with the observed. You are the dance itself. From this unity, action is inspired, not effortful. Creation is effortless, because you are not creating your reality, but a reality in harmony with the all. This is the quantum awakening to non-duality, where the separation between you and the source field dissolves, and every moment is recognized as a perfect manifestation of the one consciousness exploring itself. Therefore, the entire arc is a spiral of increasing sovereignty and increasing surrender. You let go of the old you to claim your power as a creator, only to eventually surrender that very sense of separate creatorship to become a vessel for a creativity far vaster than the individual self. The quantum leap is thus never-ending. Each new plateau of understanding reveals a further horizon. The frequency you master today becomes the foundation for a more subtle one tomorrow. The reality shift that once seemed miraculous becomes your new normal, prompting you to ask, what greater version of love, abundance, and freedom can I embody? This is the grand, beautiful, and endless evolution of quantum consciousness, a journey where the only constant is the eternal exhilarating release of who you thought you were into the breathtaking mystery of what you truly are.